Hi, so today I wanted to talk about the Weasley Method. And before I start, I just wanted to remind you to please be respectful. At the end of the day, no one really knows what shifting is. Some people think it's just a very intense lucid dream, and it very well could be. Some people think you're actually shifting your consciousness to viewing another reality. And I could talk about that, but that's not what this video is about today, so just a reminder that this isn't new. It's not something teenagers came up with on TikTok. It's been practiced by, monks, indigenous people, and there's so much that we just don't understand about our brains and our minds, and even psychologists will admit this. But yeah, you don't have to believe what I believe or what, shifters believe, but just please be respectful. So today, I'm just gonna go over really quickly about how the Weasley Method came about, and then I'll get into the actual method and some extra tips afterwards. For starters, I guess I should say, I felt like it was given to me by the universe. I kind of purchased this journal to be a shifting journal because people keep saying like, document. I mean, I've always heard that like if you want to get better at lucid dreaming, like write down your dreams. And so I figured if I wanted to get better at shifting, I should write down all my shifting experiences. And when I purchased this journal, I also purchased these cards. And it's like Weasley cards, like Aging Potion, the bubble machine, the decoy detonator, and then on the back it has facts. And I was gonna use these as oracle cards, and it came with this little book. It has like, a moment where you did something daring, document it, follow your dreams, write down your dreams, create a Weasley product of your own. And I think there's like a shoe one. They want you to design your own Weasley shoes. And all the way at the end, the last thing says the Weasley Method. And I just thought that was so hilarious because I'm shifting, and there's shifting methods and the Weasleys and then the Weasley Method. And I was like, that is kind of genius. So thank you, universe. And yeah, and I kind of work with I have worked with the egregores of the Weasley twins, but that's something else. I'm trying to separate this from my spiritual practice because I know not everyone who shifts is a spiritual person. But if you're interested in that, I will make a video soon about egregores, so keep an eye out for that. But anyway, I've been trying to shift for over a year, and I've had results here and there, like throughout the months. But I mean, after I started documenting it with the Weasley Method, I feel like I have just been getting result after result. Even if it's not like a complete shift, it'll be like a mini shift, or it'll be like a dream. So I've never had results that were like so consistent or so quickly. And I'm just gonna go over the method now. I want to preface this by saying that the Weasley Method is not a method in and of itself. It's a format to document your experiments with other methods. And it's basically it's like a process of elimination. So you can use the Julia method and say, no, this didn't work for me, and then put it to the side, not deal with it. And then you can go the next day and you can be like, oh, I used the ADHD method and I got lucid dreams with that, so maybe I'll use that later. So it's basically like you running through a bunch of methods and seeing what does and doesn't work. And then it helps you achieve your results faster, and it helps you see what isn't working about certain methods. Because as you know, like for example, the Julia method, right? You count and you do affirmations. Some people are like, the counting part doesn't really resonate with me, or I didn't experience any symptoms when I was doing the counting, but I did when I was doing the affirmations, so I'll stick to the affirmations instead of the counting. So that's the Weasley Method basically helps you document everything so you can see what isn't working, and you can work towards what is working and achieve results faster. Okay, step 1, get a journal. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to have the Weasleys on it, just any fucking journal. It doesn't even have to be a journal if you want to collect a bunch of loose leaf papers and write it down, as long as you have a way to like document everything and keep it together, so when you need it you can just reference it back. It says date, so you would write down the date of your experiment, the experiment itself, the desired results, the procedure, the equipment used, and the results. And I'll go over that really quickly. I'm just gonna take this away from the view of the camera because I don't want you guys reading other parts that are a little more personal to me. But yeah, you can look at these really cool cards. So for example, the Weasley Method, the date, August 13th. And then I put the year because I know sometimes it takes people years to shift. The experiment, I was attempting to shift to my Weasley DR. The desired result, to ground myself successfully. And then I put ideally stay for a month. So the issue that I've been running into is that I mini shift and then I don't know how to ground myself. And so I end up shifting back to my CR. So my result was more, my desired result was about grounding myself successfully. Like even if I wasn't able to stay there for as long as I would have liked to, the idea of like taking it from a mini shift to a shift where I actually ground myself was my desired result. You can just say to shift as desired result, but I think it's good to like break it down into like what exactly you mean by that. So yeah, I said to ground myself successfully. And then procedure, and then just kind of go over the procedure, documenting what you're planning to do. If you want, you can do the actual method and then the next day document exactly what you did. But hopefully you'll remember all the details, like the time you actually went to bed, what method you did you meditate before the method, did you do it sitting up, did you do it laying down, were you listening to something, were you listening to affirmations, were you counting, were you listening to brown noise, yeah, and that's pretty much it. I know some people, when it comes to sleep methods, they'll do the method and then they'll go to sleep, and some people do the method and hope that it'll drift them into sleep and that they'll wake up in their DR. So just experimenting with different things and documenting that under the procedures. Then we have equipment. I put NA, which is not applicable, but for equipment, I wrote down a list of things that as examples. We have crystals, we have charms, we have guided meditations, movies. I know some people like to watch movies or read a chapter of a book of whatever you know they're shifting to. So for example, if you're shifting to Harry Potter, watching a Harry Potter movie. Tarot is interesting. Some people channel their DR people through tarot. Some people do tarot pick-a-cards. Some people get tarot readings from other people about like what's blocking them from shifting, etc., etc. So if you're into that, again, this is not a religious thing. If you're against tarot or whatever, this isn't telling you have to do that. Then we have potions. So potions is funny because I think people, you know, they think of Snape and they think of like witches and their cauldrons, and a potion isn't necessarily that. It's more of an herbalist thing. So for example, we know for a fact that mugwort and wormwood, if taken in large doses, can cause hallucinations, but people have been microdosing them in teas, and they found that they have very vivid dreams with that. So that would be considered a potion because it's a form of using herbalism to, you know, kind of alter your state of mind or whatever to achieve a desired result. So that's kind of what a potion means. Again, you don't have to do that. If you are gonna try to take mugwort tea, just do your research, etc., etc. Spells, again, if that's your thing. And spells, to me, I like to compare them to prayers in a sense. So if you're religious, you can also like pray and ask, you know, especially I feel like there's a lot of fear around shifting, like, oh, I won't come back to my body or whatever. You can, if that helps you, it's funny to think of a spell or a prayer as equipment, but I think that's just an additional thing that you would add there. We also have water. I know that's like a shift talk thing. I personally don't like water because I feel like it makes me go to the bathroom more. So then I end up like meditating and then I'm like, crap, I really gotta go to the bathroom. And then it takes me out of that state of mind. So script can be an equipment. Some people write letters to their DR people, Pinterest boards. So yeah, those are just examples. And then results, I had vivid dreams, no symptoms, no shifting. And then under results, I put that I felt the time that I fell asleep was too early and I will try to push it even further. And then I also wrote down that I talked to someone on the phone because they said they really had to call me instead of going straight to bed, and I feel like that also affected it, which is kind of a bummer. But I think it's important to attend to the people in our CR. Like, just because you're planning a shift, you know, if your friend's like, I really need to talk to you, that's kind of crappy to be like, no, I'm gonna shift. Like, what? Like, don't neglect your CR just because you really want to go to your DR, basically. Sorry, I was recording and then this freaking ice cream truck just passed by and was popping off. So as an example, again, so I have August 17th, 2023, experiment, My Hero Academia DR, desired results, grounding successfully, procedure, woke up. This one was interesting. So there's a creator and they suggested that you don't try to shift when you go to sleep, that you just sleep, and then when you wake up, you, I don't know, use the restroom, you walk your dog, do something small, still stay in like a dizzy state, and then go back to bed. And when you do that, that's when you try to shift. So the procedure here, I had woken up and I ate breakfast, and then I realized I felt a little bit tired, and I was like, I guess I'll try the ADHD method. And that was around 10 o'clock. And then equipment, Alanur, guided meditation, the ADHD method. And then results, seeing memories from my DR. Yeah, I felt like I was seeing a bunch of stuff from my DR. And then like, she would ask like, what color are the walls? And my brain would respond, and I was like, I don't know, I guess white. But then I would like see images of purple walls, and I was like, that's so freaking weird. It felt like a memory. Yeah, it was weird. I ended up like falling into like this meditative state, and I saw a cell phone, and then I picked it up and I was like going through TikTok on the cell phone, and on the cell phone I would see like memories from my DR. So I thought that was pretty weird. But I didn't end up shifting. I tried again with the same method and the same, like basically the same day, but instead of at 10 o'clock, I tried it like at 9 o'clock at night. Same DR, same goal, desired result. Waited until I was tired to try to reproduce that that tired feeling I had in the morning. And then I tried the ADHD method, same equipment, and then I just put in as an extra note, like, wait until I'm tired instead of trying the method while I'm awake. And then I had a dream, and this was freaking funny. I had a dream with like hawks from my Hero Academia DR, but then out of nowhere, like, Snape came in and was teaching me how to read freaking like playing cards. But then I had like the Weasley one, so it was like my Marauders DR mixing with my Hero Academia DR mixing with my Weasley DR, and I was like, this is the weirdest thing. And so I kind of wanted, I think I wrote a note about that. I don't know where it's at, but basically I was like, make sure you have your intentions, because I fall into that a lot. Like, I'll mini shift and then it'll be like, oh, but my Harry Potter DR is suddenly in my Hero Academia DR, and then I'll be dreaming about like different DRs at the same time. So because I approach it with like, I basically approach it thinking I'll be grateful anywhere I shift, and then I end up not, I end up like mixing my DRs. So I think it's important to remember to have intention. Like, even if you don't mind where you go and you'll be grateful wherever you go, just pick somewhere, because you're gonna end up in a freaking DR where you're like, what the fuck are my characters from my Harry Potter DR doing here? Just some extra things I wanted to add. If you believe in spirit guides, or if you interact with your spirit guides, or even if you like read tarot cards and you don't believe in that, whatever, I think it can be helpful to ask them why you haven't shifted, like what's blocking you from shifting. I asked my spirit guides what was blocking me, and they told me I needed to reevaluate my reasons why. And I realized that I was trying to shift for a lot of escapist reasons. And so I broke down all of my DRs in this journal, actually. So again, like, it's not just to document your shifting journey in terms of how you shift, but like anything really. You can document your mini shifts, you can document your dreams related to shifting, you can document your tarot readings, your channeling, advice from from other shifters or from guides, your scripts, your letters, and your reasons why. And that's what I ended up doing. I broke down all the reasons why, and I ended up like, I wouldn't say throwing out, but I'm not attached to one of my DRs now because it was like, I don't really have a reason to be shifting here. It's just like to dick around. And maybe that's a good enough reason for you, and that's totally cool. I'm not judging. But to me, I was like, well, I'm not actually connected to this DR because I'm not learning any lessons. I'm not doing it to experience something. I'm just like doing it to mess around. And I ended up, yeah, I was like, maybe I'll reevaluate this later, but right now it doesn't seem like something I'll pursue. So my experience with this method has been great. Basically, I've only been using it for even less than a month because today's technically the 26th. And I started like August, what was it? I don't know. Let me double check. I think it was like August 7th when I started using this. No, even less than that. It was August 13th, and I've already been experiencing like mini shifts, so that's pretty cool. And basically what a mini shift, it's just you shifting, but you can't ground yourself. And I grounded myself today, like last night, I guess, and it freaked me out so much. I was like, okay, I'm aware that I'm in the space, and then I was like on a leather couch, and people say like in order to ground yourself, you have to touch the walls, touch yourself, like try to touch things around you to ground yourself there. And I was like, okay, ground myself. And so I started touching the leather couch and I couldn't feel anything, and I was like, okay, go back to meditation, like, and literally the Alinir videos are in my head, and I was like, okay, what does the leather couch feel like? And so I remembered what a leather couch felt like in my CR, and that was able to help me feel the leather couch in my, I wouldn't say it was my DR, I had shifted somewhere random, but it had the characters of my DR, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so I touched the freaking leather couch, and it felt like a leather couch, and I was like, holy crap, like it freaked me out so bad. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and like the fact that I was like in somewhere else freaked me out so bad that it was weird. I didn't shift back to my CR. I just shifted to like, I guess what people call the void state. It was like black, and then I was like, no, I have to get back in there. And so I was able to get back into that space, but I wasn't able to ground myself again. So that sucks. But the fact that it's been less than a month, literally, let me look it up right now, from the 13th to the 26th, and that has been my strongest experience, but not my only experience. So literally 2 weeks tomorrow. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that was kind of my experience with it. And what I like about it is that it helps when you document everything. I feel like I wasn't taking it as seriously before, and I was just kind of like, oh, well, if it works, it works. And I felt like because I wasn't documenting everything, I would forget what did and didn't work for me. And I would just remember pieces like, oh, well, I remember the Julie method kind of worked for me, but I didn't have like the details of why it worked or why it didn't work, or what kind of symptoms I had achieved from that. Like in the beginning of my journal, I have mini shifts and I have like dreams and symptoms, but I couldn't tell you what method I used because I wasn't documenting it. I had a dream about shifting that I had to ask my guides for, but I couldn't tell you what method I used because I wasn't documenting it. So when I first got this journal, I just wrote down everything I had already experienced, and then I started actually documenting like the reasons why things work, what doesn't work about them. And that's why I think the Weasley method is awesome and it works so well. And their moons are in Capricorn if you actually pull up their chart, and if you work with their egregores, again, that's a whole different thing, but if you're into that stuff, they are very practical. I thought they would be like silly, funny, and hilarious, and they are, but you don't forget they're businessmen too, like, so don't forget to add the practical part when you're off shifting and trying to dream about your DRs. That's all I have for today, I think. Pretty much. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if this method works for you or not. And credit to the universe, I guess, and the Weasley twins.